Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, G-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. And I got a whole bunch of good stuff coming for you. Let's get this party started. Rightisms, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. The message is in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. The numbers is good. I appreciate you. Let's get to work. Right Thinkers mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, meditative lifestyle, daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment. That's how you get it, through practice and daily meditation and living and doing the right thing. Trust me, you will know thyself. And when you practice again what you're learning. Don't learn it just, I see my man today, he had a good lesson. If you're not going to take the lessons and use them, it's not too much going to do you no good, okay? So understand that. So the question is, know thyself. I ask you, do you know you? It's rhetorical. And if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do. Let's go. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. So you teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons designing you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. Right thinkers, let's talk about the main difference between a doer and a non-doer. For the meditative people and wise men, we all end up being one or the other. Which one are you? Let's go. When I'm done, you should figure it out for yourself. I'm just going to lay it out there. If I tell you about a person, a specific type of person, if you fit the bill, that's not my fault. I'm not ragging on you. I'm just telling you about you. If it's you, wear it, Cinderella. That's all. I don't cast aspersions. I just make points. Let's go. Main difference between what a doer and a non-doer is that, you ready? The doer is driven by what? Desires, while the non-doer is indifferent to desires, okay, of the mind and the fruits of the action they are performing. That guy right there, if he's doing something for you, he's going to get something from you. Those are doers. That guy right there, nobody care. Okay, you can take it or not take it. Don't make a difference to me. Why? I had a whole different agenda. That's why I'm a non-doer. The non-doer, here you go, perfect example, acts out of what? Wakefulness. While the doer acts out of self 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 desires and a egoistic mindset. Me, I, okay? Thus, now you got the non-doer can never be what? Disappointed. I don't care how the outcome work out. I had that mindset when I was a drug dealer. I didn't care about nothing except me. Nothing mattered to me personally. So I understand. Watch this. So you can never disappoint me, or I was never made unhappy. Why? Because a situation in life, while the doer is what? Always agitated or engaged in what? Roller coaster ride of what? Elation, depression, happiness, sorrow, pain, pleasure. Those are that's the roller coaster. That's the serpent. Okay, you see it? That's the wave that you live in when you are a doer. Everything you do has an agenda, has an end game. Those people can't trust them. Moving on. But if that's you, that's what I'm talking about. He couldn't argue the point that right. That was him. I can tell you about me. Okay, I saw him. I know him what he was about. So watch this. Through all of that, pain, pleasure, etc. But what happens? they never end up finding what? Abiding peace. And the non-doer, what he do? He acts out of necessity and is primarily only concerned with what? Experiencing the moment. I was a kid. I'm just having fun. I ain't thinking long term. I'm just doing what I'm doing and having fun, living and jiving and digging the skin I was in, position I put myself in, doing what I thought was best for me. Okay, and when you're doing it, it's fun. But again, whatever you do, you got to pay the consequences. Okay, so when you're experiencing the moment, and that's what's good, but fully while what? While carrying out the present task to perfection. I was doing my thing, and I wasn't concerned with nothing other than just doing that, doing it and doing it and doing it well, not worrying about what the rewards for the task. My hustle was built in. I was making money every time a deal was made. I'm clocking dollars, so I knew the concept. Okay, yeah. Thus, what it means. It may be said that what for the non-doer there isn't what an immediate reward. That dopamine rush that you get, that's immediate, and what it causes, what it brings on peace and joy. Whereas the doer is always what looking for the future or the past. Again, I tell you the Star Wars when Luke was learning how to Jedi warrior, Yoda told him, "You fail. Why? Because your mind is either going there or back there. It ain't never on this, the present, the moment that you're in. Stay in that moment. Why? That's where you're gonna live at. You can have your mind racing on, but you got to stay in the moment. I taught my son how to handle the moment. Don't let the moment handle you. Acquiesce, control yourself, and know thyself, and fill yourself with what? Knowledge of self. Whole bunch of knowledge of the damn world, and that don't mean nothing. The most knowledge you should have is self-knowledge. Keep telling you that. Scholars don't mean nothing. Trust me, smack them around. Oh, I'm smacking the AI. I got AI apologizing because I can't ask the question. Really? But that's another lesson. But when you have knowledge of self, you can handle yourself in any situation. Okay? Old school. There, watch this. So they're non-doers, peace and happiness do not come. You ready? A non-doers, peace and happiness. I'm gonna substitute non-doer to right thinkers. Okay. Right thinkers, peace and happiness do not come from, you ready? Expectations of the future, nor do they experience sorrow due to what some negative situations which what occurred in the past. That's over. Can't do nothing about it. What's ahead of me? I'm going toward that with vigor and zeal. Why? I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Why? Because I'm in the moment. The moment ain't worried about the past and ain't scared of the future. I'm running towards it. Simple as that. And that's the concept when you're a non-doer. Watch this. Where we at? Da. Thus, watch this. The non-doer experience a unique form of what? Peace and happiness. Where? Within himself. That's unique. And it is what? Eternal. Present. Which is not affected by what? The various life's ups and downs. When you acquiesce to situations, no matter what it is, you smooth. You ain't getting excited because it's good. You ain't getting depressed because it's bad. Once you learn how to maintain flatline, maintain your cool, so to speak, that's what meditation and the meditative lifestyle brings you at that level where you can live in your own mind, peace and content, and deal with situations as they come. And because you don't have no expectations, I don't have no chip on my shoulder, I'm not angry, I'm in a good place within myself. I don't have a whole bunch of nonsense that I bring to the table. Where are we at? I don't forgot my place. All right, we're down here at the bottom somewhere. Okay, here you go. Now, understand this. Adversities. That's going to happen. You don't control that. God ain't going to do no stop. Well, God, no. Adversities are things that happen that wasn't foreseen, that you just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Understand that. Well, God, no. Stop blaming God for every little thing. Another thing I can't stand. Now, adversity and prosperity, they come together. Good and bad. They always gonna be together. Watch this. And are what? An integral part of human existence. They're not going nowhere. You're gonna have some good times, you have some bad times. They are part of the human existence. when you can keep your flat line in between them flat, you ain't got to worry about good or bad. You deal with them accordingly. Okay, you acquiesce to any situation and act like you've been there before. So don't get too high, don't get too low. Right down the middle, as my man Corey say. All right, here you go. Now wrapping it up, the belief that what life can or should be only composed of what? Us should just have all happiness. Remember, you can't have one without the other. This duality world we live in. So you got to have happiness in positive situations is a factor of a what? That's philosophically ignorant. Why? Because and the lack of reflection on history would prove that ain't nobody went through life just having had no money don't make a difference. Adverse situations gonna come to us all. Rich, famous, poor, it don't make a difference. Okay. So a wise person, aka right thinker, will realize what? That life is full of adversity as well as what? Prosperous situations. Depending on what side of the coin you fall on. Okay. But if you doing what you're supposed to do, you'll always fall on the side that benefits you. Now, while trying to promote prosperous situation by what? Doing the right thing, there must be expectation of what? If everything is going good, you know something bad is coming. As my pastor would say, the devil, don't like when you serving God and everything going good. So you know you're going to have what? Adversity. That's just a way of life. You got good, you got bad. When you do good, bad don't like it. So it's going to keep coming back. It ain't going to stop. And this wisdom, watch this, with this concept, this wisdom will what? Lead to better understanding that what? The world and worldly situations cannot be relied upon as a source of happiness. Nothing in this world gives you happiness. It can make you happy for the moment. You can have sexual pleasures for the moment, but that's not happiness. We're talking about long-lasting stuff that will stay with you. Meditative state of mind, becoming the right thinker, knowing thyself, that stays with you forever. That's the ticket that you want. Now, where I'm at, I don't keep getting lost. Now, the wisdom leads, okay, understand, been there. So there will always in life arise what? Some situation which will bring any form of what? Worldly prosperity to an end, as P. Diddy. Anybody who's on top of the world, and like my man, my Saudi guru, bullshit can get you to the top. Yeah, a lot of people do it. And guess what? It just won't keep you there. So those who get to the top, when they fall, you know what? They was full of shit. Simple. That's the concept. Okay, don't get it twisted. No, you can use it and get there, but when you get there, now you got the show. When you get there, everybody sees the show. And if it ain't good, my man, okay, understand that. So there, watch this. Therefore, a wise person does not become listen to this good. A wise person, aka right thinkers, that's what we're gonna be when we know ourselves, does not become attached to worldly objects. Cars, houses, women, men, don't make a difference to me. People, why? Or situations, even while you're involved with them during your normal course of lifetime. If you're in a marriage, relationship, that means nothing. Why? First priority, me, mine, I. Not selfish, not egoistic. That's just a survival mechanism. And if you get caught relying on someone else for you to be happy, you're going to have these problems. That's all. Oh, you don't care about nope. And here we get nope. Nothing is more important to me than me. Understand that. And when you understand the concept, it ain't selfish. No, it's just understanding what you got to do for who? You. Nobody else will. So first, Lord preservation. Thyself. Take care of self. Self-survival. Okay? Be sufficient. Be self-sufficient. Why? Don't have to depend on nobody else to do what you need to do that you can do for yourself. That's called begging. If you get to that point in life, that means you done gave up. Well, let me wrap this up. But watch this. So therefore, because it involves doing the normal course of life. Now, therefore, a wise person does not become attached, again, to worldly objects. Again, even people or life situations. I don't care. And even if I'm with you during the time, don't make a difference to me. If you think you're more important and you push me to see what's more important, I will show you. So don't do that. In general society, watch this. Y'all believe that actions are to be performed for a goal of attaining some objective, which will yield a reward. I tell you, right, thinkers, we offer selfless service. So that takes us out of this whole concept right there. We're not doers. We're non-doers, okay, by nature. So the socialization process, which teaches all individuals to what? Seek to perform actions. And because this is the way to attain something which will cause what? Happiness. Lies. More lies. This is the predicament of the masses. Again, full of lie and think they got something who have not studied or practiced right thinking philosophy, yoga, or obtained learned mystical philosophies such as Buddhism, you ready? Netta, right thinking philosophy, or Vedanta. These are the following line from the Declaration of Independence. And this is it's supposed to illustrate succinctly how everybody has the right. We hold these truths. What truth? To be self-evident, according to who? That all men are created equal. That's not for all of us, black people. Remember, the white man wrote this and we wasn't considered human. Remember that. And this is the declaration that he wrote, that he brought forth to the world, and is there for everybody to see. Watch this. All men are created equal, BS. That they are endowed by the Creator, which is true, with what? Certain inalienable rights. But man takes away those rights, aka slavery. And among these are what? The life, liberty, and they throw in this one for good measure, and the pursuit of happiness. Just like this last little bit, they don't want pursuit of happiness and just, drift off. We all have the same right. Or do we? You say that, and I tell you, if what they say don't match what they do, they are liars. And that guy who do this, he's full of it. And everybody he's encountered say the same thing about him. If everybody say you're not good, president, you claiming that everybody love you, right? But on record, true facts, you are the worst president ever. So for you to even claim anything of any notoriety, don't waste my time or those who don't know no better. Say again, I ain't a hater. I just got facts and proof to substantiate why I say what I say with purpose and reason. So if you want to question my thing, trust me, I can prove my point. You are the worst, and it's on record. It ain't how I feel. It ain't what I think. Moving on. I don't give opinions. I give facts. That's what I'm doing right now. Let me get back to this lesson. Sorry about that. Yoga philosophy is not against, right thinking philosophy is not against the pursuit of happiness in the world of time and space. But, however, it does not teach that the pursuit of happiness with a sense of attachment and dependence on objects and situations in the world of the human existence will not fulfill the deeper need of your soul. It will not make you happy. It will be you temporary joy, sometimes pain, but it ain't leading you to happiness. If at all, they should be what you should pursue with an attitude of detachment. Don't get too attached to anything or anybody. And dispassion. Keep your emotions out of any situations where you have to deal with and make good decisions. Why? Don't let your feelings get involved. That's why. So be able to be dispassionate. And in reality, what? Happiness does not and cannot, you ready? Come from objects that can be what? Acquired, bought, stole from, or from activities that are performed. These are momentary things. Happiness from within can only come from within. Even, watch this, actions that seem to be pleasurable in life cannot be considered as what? Sources of happiness. Why? From a philosophical point of view, because all activities are relative. Not real. You're just going through the motions. This means that while one activity is pleasurable for one person, it can be painful for another. If hurting somebody, if you get where you want to go, you got to hurt somebody, don't take that route. Why? It's not good. Thus, watch this. This leads to what? This means that while one activity is pleasurable and other play for some another, this leads to what? The realization that it is not the activity itself that holds what? The happiness, but the individual doer who is performing the action and assigning a value to the action, which he or she has learned from society to do. Assign a value to it. That's a priority. I need to do that. Why? They say I got to do that. Prioritize. Your priorities are wrong, you're going to prioritize the wrong things. So therefore, I'm stopping there, moving down. Understanding before you perform an action, from whatever's said, done around you, you should take time to think. Why? Because a lot of people often act what? Out of short. Right quick. That's the knee-jerk reaction. And what happened? They regret what they have done. If you are regretting the action that you did, check yourself. Why? That's what you need to do. Stop acting out of emotion. Stop acting that knee-jerk first reaction and think before you act. You should think before you talk. So always think before you act. You may can say some things that okay, but when you act, you gotta be responsible. And you should be responsible for what comes out of your mouth also. But another lesson. Moving on. And watch this. Sometimes people know even at the time of the action. If you're a cheater, you know when you planning to get cheating, and you know right at the moment when you finally get together and y'all do what y'all do, soon as that's over, regret stress it. If you have an action that's followed by regret, what is that telling you? Sorry, calm down. Get back to the lessons and make it personal. Where we at? They do okay when they perform an act that they are wrong. You know it's wrong. Yet what? They are unable to stop themselves. That's weak discipline. That's not a good will. Why? Because if you can't stop yourself from doing a wrong act, knowing it's wrong, and you do it anyway, you have issues. Personal. Thus, watch this. Now, what happens? This is because what? When your mind is controlled, pay attention by what? Your lower desires, okay? That part of you that wants what it wants and the and expectations. The intellect, the light of reason is what? Clouded and dull like a knife. If it's not sharp, it ain't a knife, okay? However, if your mind is not controlled, you have no spiritual discipline, no wherewithal to have control over yourself, your actions, your lower self, you're going to have problems. And watch this. When the mind is controlled, right? Thinking philosophy with intellect, again, you have to think to know God. Then what? If you're thinking right, acting right, it is impossible. It's impossible to be led astray. And that what Malcolm told us, with knowledge, you can't be bamboozled, you can't be hoodwinked, you can't be led astray. But if you don't have knowledge because you're ignorant, you can be all those things. Moving on. And due to what? To the fantasies and even illusions of your own mind, living in your own delusion state where you think you know and don't know jack. When the individual, when you are guarded by what? Your intellect, which I'm trying to get you to understand, knowing thyself is having the intellect raised to the highest level. It don't get no higher than knowing thyself, aka Nihas. I asked the AI about Nihas. It didn't have a definition. Moving on. I love that. However, when the mind is controlled by the intellect, it is again impossible. Watch this. So when the individual is guarded by that and led by what? Their consciousness, their intellect, then only right actions can be performed. You're only going to do what's right. I tell you that all the time. I'm not doing something wrong intentionally, knowing it ain't happening. Okay, moving on. So that's when right action can be performed, no matter what the negative ideas or people that surround you won't affect your way of thinking. Such a person cannot be deluded into negative actions. If you sitting around, I'm gonna go rob a bank. You going? Hell no. I'm not doing that. So I'm not be led by some nonsense that you come up with. No, no. Be an individual. Think for yourself. And watch this. When negative actions which lead to what? Future pain and disappointment or incarceration, which what mine was, ended up, are not performed, then what? Then the unhappiness cannot exist. I'm not doing nothing that's going to land me in jail. So I ain't worried about that part of my life happening. Why? I'm done with that. Moving on. Thus, a person who lives what? According to their teachings. And I tell you, that's the whole purpose of teaching. Why? If you ain't living it, you can't teach it. Why? It's not authentic. It's only authentic if you're practicing it. Sorry. And disappointments, watch this. The person, okay, which leads to pain, the suffering, disappointment. And watch this. When that's not performed, happiness cannot exist. Unhappiness. Thus, a person who lives according to his teachings of what? Non-doership. I'm a selfless server. I'm not going to charge you for me giving you knowledge of self. That's selfless. That's giving. That's giving without desires or what? Expectations for what? Future results, such as monetary gains or popularity or that nonsense. I don't aspire for none of that. Understand that. And what? For their actions. I'm giving you something you can use for yourself. I'm giving it to you. Excuse me, live, live a life of perpetual peace and happiness where in the present moment with knowledge of self and you're meditating on a regular basis, you can do that. Keep the peace, keep the calm amongst yourself, within yourself. That's the lesson. I hope you got it. Hope you understood it. And in closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100 and me 100 miles a day. So I never know that right thing because like you passed away. I got 2 paragraphs left and I got to do it. Sorry about that. Extended version. Sorry. Thus, true peace and inner fulfillment will never come through. Listen to this. I got to get you this. The pursuit of actions when there is an expectation attached to it or some desires for the fruits of that action. If you're doing something for something, that's the devil. That belief in objects or worldly activities as a source of happiness is therefore seen as what? A state known, you know, ready? Spiritual ignorance, okay? Wherein the individual caught up in what? The illusions and fantasies and fanciful notions of the mind about the physical world. However, happiness and peace can arise when spontaneously, if what? When there is an attitude of detachment and again profess dispassion toward what? Worldly objects and situations in your life that don't dictate who and how you act. If actions are performed with the idea of discovering peace within and based on the understanding of the philosophy outlined that I'm giving you above, and for the sake of what? You ready? Self betterment, then these actions will have the effect of what? You ready? Purifying the heart of you, the individual. My goal is to purify the heart with your actions for yourself. Why? Now you know. The desires and expectations will what? They will dwindle while the inner fulfillment and awareness of you at the present moment will increase. You'll be happier in the moment. There will be a greater and greater discovery of peace within, a discovery of what is truly stable and what? Changeless. Excuse me. Not like the emotion when it's good, it's bad. No, it don't change. When you reach that level, it's changeless. Watch this. Within as opposed to what? The mind and the outer world, which are what? Constantly changing and is so unpredictable. Along with this, there is a greater effectiveness and perfection in one's actions on a daily basis when you're living right. Moving on, almost home. Actions of any type will always lead to a result. I read action equal opposite reaction. Good in, you reap what you sow, you put good in, you get good back. However, let me wrap this up. This result is not as predictable as people have come to believe. Why? Because in reality, the only thing that a human being can control is what? Their own actions, the actions of itself, and not the fruits of that action. You don't detect the outcome. I give, why? I know the outcome gonna come from somebody else, not the person I'm helping. That's why. If I got 100 people that got my lesson, that's 100 blessings that I accumulated. Why? For helping somebody out. That's the concept. And if there is, again, mental concentration on the action and without having desires or expectations of the fruits of that action, you are a non-doer. Right thinker. Then there can be what? Peace and contentment even while you're performing the action. Again, doing it with fervency and zeal because you want to. And Mike Tyson says spiritual or self-discipline is doing something that you hate like you love it. So either way, put yourself in a frame of mind to do and perform at your best. And this is the way of what? The non-doer. Actions performed with expectations and self-desires are the way of the doer. No offense. It is what it is. If that's what you are, that's what you are. And the non-doer is what? He's free or she is free from the fruits because of what? He or she is free from what? Results that they have positive, what the results are, be they positive or negative. Why? Because I'm just doing it for the right reason. How it end up, and I didn't do it, me. When desires and expectations in the mind are resolved, what happens? The mind now becomes what? Calm and peaceful. Under these conditions, you now, the non-doer, is free from what? Elations or depressions. Why? Because he or she pleasure is coming from, you ready? The present action in the present moment, and it's not based on good memory, bad memory of the past, or a pleasurable situation, which are what? Impelling a movement toward repeating those activities or an expectation for what? Future activities that will what? Will somehow bring happiness. Always looking for happiness in the world. You will never find it. That's like looking for God out there. Go inside. Wrapping it up. Non-doer, not being bound, why? By their memories or their expectations, is not bound by either the past nor the future. That's why. And thereby discovers what? An eternal present. The now. Live in the now. The doer is always what? Caught up in the past or worrying about the future. And thereby what? Loses the moment, the opportunity to discover what? Peace and true happiness in the moment, the now. This is the condition of most people in the world. Why? Because before they realize it, their entire life has what? Gone by without their being aware of the passage of time. Meaning you've been living and just wasting your time. Okay? The art of true spiritual life, watch this, leads one to detach from the world even while continuing to live in it. He said, be in the world, but don't be of it. Why? There's a lot of nonsense going on. I can slide between the molecules of BS like the eel through seaweed. Now I'm good at that, avoiding the nonsense and the ignorant people. And what happened? Thereby you discover what? The true hidden meaning of spiritual dimensions of what? Your unconscious mind and what lies beyond. You don't have a clue if you haven't reached that level of consciousness. The doer, watch this, will never reach that level, is always what? Bound to a form of experience which what is determined by and linked to what? The world of time and space. Why? Because only in time and space can there manifest what? The memories of the past, and they also exercise expectations of the future. The non-doer eventually what? Discovers, you ready? The transcendental experience of knowing thyself, becoming one with your higher self through what? Experiencing the personal experience, mystical experience, and expanding what? The conscious in the present moment, knowing thyself, knowing who you are, and being conscious of the moment. That's the lesson right there. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I got to give it to you. May you all live to be 100 and me 100 minus a day. I never know that right thinker like you passed away. I feel good about getting the lesson in. I hope you enjoy it.